So for those of you who have been following along on my TikTok, you've heard me talk about a dog that had some really bad protection training, to say the least. So he came here for a little while, kind of a little test trial. I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't think this dog was this bad. He is the worst, probably behavioral case I've even considered taking. That's still up in the air right now. But I just wanted to do a little video on this. Yesterday, we pulled him out. I have to, right now, the only way I can even trust to handle him is in a bite suit. When you watch this video, you'll understand that. We made some progress in the idea that like this. So I guess to back this up, anyone that hasn't watched my TikToks, this dog is about 2 years old. He'll be 2, I think, at like the end of February. They said so. In that time, they got him as a young puppy. They got him as a puppy. They sent him to a board and train with one trainer. They then took him to another trainer to kind of start some protection work. It doesn't sound like a ton of protection was done there, but at the same time, I'm not really sure. For whatever reason, they weren't a fan of what was going on with that trainer, so they went to the next trainer. At this point, the dog would have been about 8 or 9 months old when they get to this third trainer. And this third trainer, they do a couple different things. One, they kind of like drop the dog off when they go on vacations and stuff like that, which sounds like it's kind of periodic. But anyway, for a week or 2 at a time or whatever it is, and the guy works with the dog while he's there. They did some protection work there. The owner showed me a video of them doing protection work there when they were there with him training, and the dog at the time looks like he's probably I want to say right around 1 year old. And they have the owner, the female owner, wearing a bite sleeve and using an agitation stick, which sounds like was kind of the norm, using an agitation stick with this young dog, and getting him to, basically, it's stressful, right? So that guy's not taking won't board the dog anymore because of all sorts of different reasons. But anyway, they go to another trainer this last year who's doing some in-homes with them, who's kind of working on like the reactivity portion of people coming in. Long story short, they get a hold of me because they want to board. They're looking for someone to kind of replace that like periodic boarding and training with the dog. On the surface, this looked like a typical reactive dog to me, okay, with maybe like the twist that he's seen a bite suit before, and those behaviors have been paid, so like a little extra spice in there that need to be worked out. And he's not doing protection anymore, to make that clear. So, while here, something I've kind of noticed is it's a couple different things really going on. First, the dog is kind of scared of like the world in a sense that like he's nervous. And when he's nervous about something, he's learned that biting it makes it go away. So that's kind of his go-to is, hey, I'm going to get aggressive, I'm going to be big, I'm going to be mean, and I'm going to lose it, right? Sorry, it's been a long week. We then noticed that the dog, when he gets frustrated, he just starts impulsively reacting, right? So like first frustration when you take him out of the kennel is he immediately grabs the leash and he's fucking, he's just pulling and pulling and pulling, and we're fighting there. We get in my building in here where we're training. It's, some of the same stuff. We made a lot of progress. I don't want to take that away. We did make a lot of progress when it came to working through that frustration for a ball. He got really good at learning, hey, I need to relax and chill to get my ball. Like that was done in the last, basically week or so that he's been here. That's been like the progress we've made. He went from just impulsively like going after the ball and not resetting at all to doing it for that. Anything more stimulating than the ball, not going to happen. At one point, my wife walked into the building to grab something, and he immediately amps up to her. I'm able to kind of get him to settle down and stop. But once she walked out, he was like so zoned in on wanting to go out the door where she just went out that it was pulling. And then when that wasn't working, he started, turning around and barking and barking and barking. And then when that wasn't working, it moved to, hey, I'm going to jump on you. Oh, that's not working. So then it was, I'm going to start biting this leash and pulling it. Oh, that's not working. So I'm going to nip at your hands. That's not working. And then we just restarted that cycle over and over and over and over again. And I mean, I'm gonna tell you, this lasted probably a good 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe, of him doing that. Then we get to this video here I'm about to play for you. This is putting him back in the kennel, okay? So his kennel is the one with the grates over here. Don't mind the kennel building. We just kind of cleaned in there. This kennel door right here with the grates on it that he's going to be going in was... previous dog basically ripped all the wiring off, so that's our makeshift idea of being able to hold it together. It's worked out really well for really reactive dogs, honestly. But anyway, so this is a 1-minute video of me first getting him in. What I'm going to tell you is my camera died after about 45 minutes of recording this whole scenario. In that time, there was 20 interactions in 45 minutes like this, exactly like this one, only everyone getting more intense and lasting longer. In total, this was a 2-hour process of us being in this kennel and this behavior going on and on and on and on before he finally kind of, I don't want to say gave up, but like nothing had worked. Nothing had led to this, like he had finally kind of in a sense like, okay. And we started seeing, if anybody's ever worked with really high stress dogs, there's this like glassy, like green, bright-eyed like color you'll see sometimes. And basically that the dog is just not even there, right? Like this dog is so high up that they're not even like, you can't train them when they're like that because they're just in this zone of overstimulation to like an extreme level, right? So he was like that for the majority of the time. After that, it was probably about 30 minutes of him, like once his eyes kind of cleared up, became normal again, of him walking around like a shark in here. Before finally a bag of treats was used to get him in the kennel. Before that, he didn't care about treats because he was so amped up. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, I'm going to play this clip for you. Keep in mind, this is 1 minute of what took place for about 2 hours last night. First, I should have mentioned this. So I brought him in off leash because when we tried to bring him in on leash, virtually what was happening is he was getting so stressed out trying to pull away from the leash that it resulted in you couldn't even take the leash off him. He was just attacking us. So we eliminated leash, and we had successful things like this that lasted maybe 15 minutes initially, 10, 15 minutes. So this was last night. He'd already been here for over a week. This was the worst of them for sure. That leave it command I'm giving is to the brown dog over here in the kennel, in the far right kennel. He's a long-term client of mine, boards here all the time. He knows these commands. If you notice, he's spending more time at that one because that dog is reacting back to him, where the little spaniel over here is kind of ignoring him for the most part. So you notice like these are much shorter lived because that dog's not feeding into his behavior. So anyway, this went on, like I said, for almost about 2 hours, give or take. And each one of those basically attacks on me got more intense. They got longer. It was pretty bad. So anyway, why am I giving this video? Why am I making this video? In a sense, it's to get people to understand the importance of, like, when we talk about getting a dog and doing puppy obedience and like in establishing a healthy relationship, like, the reason we're talking about that is so that you avoid things like this from happening. I talked to the not the most recent trainer, but the trainer that did the board and train stuff. I talked to him yesterday. I happen to know him. I reached out to him, tried to get an understanding of what was going on. What irritates me with some trainers is that they want to brush off and pretend like they weren't part of the problem. This is what I'm going to say. That trainer has had hands on this dog longer than any other trainer in this dog's life, okay? And he virtually never fixed this. This was fixable. Might still be fixable in the perfect scenario, but this was much easier to fix a year ago. 2 years ago almost, right? Like, this dog, so you figure it would have been a year ago back in October. So a year and some odd months here. You know, we're in January now, so a year and some odd months. This would have been much easier to fix. You're talking an 8-month-old puppy. Again, much easier to fix if he was establishing that. The other issue is that that trainer was doing protection work with him, and that trainer has no idea what he's doing with protection work. That shows. When I tried to get him to explain to me how they did protection work and what those drills and exercises looked like, it was just kind of, well, we'd put him in drive, and then, like, I'd have them hold the leash, I'd put the suit jacket on, and I would be like, all right, send him to get me. And, we'd put him in drive, and then they'd send him to get me. And I'm like, well, what kind of drive? There's a million different drives. Like, there's tons of different drives out there to work in. Was this defense? Because if it's defense or prey, like, we're looking at two different scenarios here, right? I mean, and the least he could have done is taught proper gripping. I mean, this dog starts at, like, my elbow and ends up with my hand every time. My hand, almost 24 hours later is completely swollen. Probably did some really good soft tissue damage. Luckily, I mean, these gloves are good for punctures, to stop punctures, but weren't going to stop pressure. So again, get your dog into the right hands. If you're going to do protection work, right? You're going to get a Malinois or a Dutch Shepherd or a German Shepherd or whatever dog you're going to get. Dive in, really do some research on trainers. Go watch them train dogs. If you get the protection trainers that are just going to dog and talk shit on your sport trainers, I'd probably walk away. And this is what I'm going to say. I don't train sport dogs currently, okay? However, the foundation of those is virtually the same in the sense that it should be about creating this as a fun thing for the dog, not stress. Eventually, do we put them in some defense and create some stress? Yes. But that should not be the foundation of it. And that's like what happened with this dog. That was the foundation. So I just want to throw that out there. Like, if you don't truly understand drive, stop lying to yourself and stop lying to potential clients or dog owners just to make a quick buck. If you're doing that, you're a piece of shit. I'm going to tell you right now. That's how I feel. You're a piece of shit. You're creating monsters like this that ultimately end up in the hands of somebody that's inexperienced and doesn't know how to handle it. And then, what happens is we end up with a dog like this who now, I'm 5 trainers in, and fixing this is unknown. The way I think it needs to be done is not a way I can do currently, in the sense that he needs a completely sterile environment. No other dogs around, just me and him. I need hours a day to be able to just build a relationship with him, something I didn't get a chance to really do. yeah, so I can't do that. Like my business suffers if I do that, and other dog owners suffer because I have to turn away a lot of other people to give myself that time and space with this dog. Do I want to help this dog? Yes. The owners also have to completely change their relationship with the dog once he goes home. That's the other side of this, right? But anyway, I wanted to share this video. This might be eye-opening to some people. I don't know. I hope so, dog owners, if you're watching this. Just to break down what's going on here. This dog is super frustrated. He's trying to get to this other dog in the kennel. It's amping him up. There's a lot of frustration. He's redirecting that frustration towards me. That's what's happening. That's why he's going after me like that. It's a redirection of frustration. I showed the owner this video when they came to pick the dog up today to show them the intensity of this situation and how real this problem is. If that's the owner, the dog bites the owner there too, probably. Just to clear that up, I'm almost certain it does not matter who's standing there, they're getting bit because of that frustration. So I'm just throwing that out there. I hopefully somebody watching this video, hopefully this does something for you. Hope this helps you out. If not, whatever. But watch it. If you haven't yet, subscribe. Like the video, subscribe, watch some of my other stuff. I'm trying to get more content up. I'm working on it. Anyway, just wanted to throw that out there for some people to see. Again, this was a 1-minute clip of about a 2-hour incident, if you will, with this dog.